In this video, I'm going to show you how to use lookups in Excel and why you shouldn't rely just on using VLOOKUP. So first, I'm going to start up with a simple VLOOKUP formula. So you want to select the value you're looking up, and usually you want this to be a cell reference, just so that way if you need to look up something else, it'll automatically update and you don't have to manually change the formula. You want to select the table that you're looking up. The column index number, this is just basically what you want to pull from the table. This is column 1, this is column 2, this is column 3. Now, let's say I want to pull annual growth rate. I'm going to select column 2. Range lookup is false because I want to exactly match my value. So it tells me Canada's growth rate is 0.924. Now, because it's a cell reference, if I just change this to Austria, it'll automatically update. Australia, you get the idea. So VLOOKUP does that very well. Now, the one limitation of VLOOKUP, though, is the value that you're looking up, this value here, it's always going to look for it in the leftmost column of that table. Now, in this case, it's not an issue because everything we want to pull is to the right of this. But, let's say you wanted to pull something and it was the column to the left of this. Then you'd have a problem because then, unless you rearrange your table, VLOOKUP can't really accommodate that. I'll give you an example. So let's say I want to find the minimum value or the lowest growth rate. So the minimum value of column B is minus 2.803. Now with VLOOKUP, I can't find out what country this relates to without changing my table. But one way around this is to use the index formula. Now in the index formula, I'm still selecting the same table, except for the row number, I'm going to use a match formula. Match formula is similar to VLOOKUP. What I'm doing is I'm selecting the value that I'm searching for, and I'm going to look for it in column B, and I'm looking for an exact match, so I set it to 0. Because what the match formula does is it's looking for the minus 2.803 in column B, and it's going to tell me what row number it finds that on. And for the column number, I'm going to set it to column 1 because I want the country. So as you can see, the index formula pretty well works as a coordinate that you're setting up. And that coordinate is the value that's going to come back to you. So where the row number and the column number intersect, that's my result. So that tells me for minus 2.803 growth rate, this is the country that has that growth rate. And so unlike VLOOKUP, you can go in both directions. So I selected column 1, that's to the left of these values that I'm looking up, but you can also go to the right, which is column 3, and it'll tell you the urban rate. So either way you look at it, index and match, they can do everything VLOOKUP can do and more. I mean, as an example, I can just recreate the VLOOKUP formula from earlier. I'm going to select the same table, the row number, I use the match formula again. I'm going to look up the country this time, and this time I'm looking up column A. Again, another exact match. And then the column number, this time it's going to go back to column 2 because I want the growth rate again. And as you can see, it pulls the exact same number. So whether I use index or match, whether I use VLOOKUP in this case, it's not going to make a difference. But where it does make a difference is where you need to go from right to left. That's where index and match is superior, and that's where you should use index and match. I would even say it's more useful to use it in any case. The only time it's useful to use VLOOKUP is maybe if you just want to quickly do a formula and you're going from left to right, because VLOOKUP is quicker to type up and do all the arguments, but index and match overall is a better use for lookups. Now the one area where VLOOKUP is valuable is when you're dealing with ranges. Now here I have some tax brackets set up. So with VLOOKUP, if I enter the formula again, the same idea, select the table. I want to determine the tax rate that this person's income will fall in, the highest which tax bracket is the highest for them. Now for range lookup, here I'm going to set it to true because I don't want an exact match, because I can't get an exact match. I'd have to list out every possible income possibility. But here, it's going to correctly tell me that $10,000 goes into the lowest tax bracket, because by setting it to true, it's not looking for an exact match anymore. It's looking for an approximate match. So it's recognizing that 10,000 hasn't yet reached this threshold of 43,561. And because so, it's going back to this threshold of 0. Now, if I change this to 45,000, it'll update to the correct tax rate of 22%. If I change it to 88,000, wrong one. If I change it to 88,000, it's going to go up to 26%. And if it's I go to something much higher, anything over 135,000 is going to set me that higher tax rate. Now, the one caveat of this is whatever you're looking up, it has to be in ascending order. If I change this, it's going to screw up my formula. As you can see, 400,000 is definitely not the lowest tax bracket. So that's the one caveat with that, is you just want to make sure that it is in ascending order, and then it'll do this well. And this doesn't work just with numbers, it can work with letters. So if you're dealing with postal codes and you want to find out what city a certain postal code falls in, if you have a certain range, but it's infinite the amount of things that you can use it for. As long as the order or list is in ascending order, then it'll work in a similar way. And that's where VLOOKUP is advantageous, is when you're working with ranges and you don't have to look for an exact match. If you're looking for an exact match, I'll say index and match is definitely the way to go. But if you're looking for approximations or what category something falls in, then VLOOKUP is your best bet. And that about covers it for lookups. Thanks for watching.